Are there any additional sources of finance, or do you have additional access to finance because of this arrangement, this partnership?
Well, interestingly, not necessarily. Domenico is a shareholder in the Works Media Group based in the UK, used to be called the Film Consortium. And the Works has the Works UK distribution, the Works international sales, and production capacity as well. And certainly that means that the Works is definitely interested in looking at projects. They send them with a view to taking on sales rights or investing or whatever. But as it's transpired over time, we haven't done anything with the Works directly, though the Works UK did just buy 10 Canoes for UK, and we did get some development money for a project based on a UK book that would be made in the UK for Richard Lowenstein to direct. So it's not automatic, and one wouldn't expect it to be. Each company has its own particular strengths and looking for a particular profile, and what we make might not necessarily meet that. So we are looking to finance films in much the same way as every other producer here. One of the major assumptions is, oh well, you'll just jump into doing an Australian-Italian co-production. And that's actually not the case. Domenico likes the Italian films to be Italian, the Australian films to be Australian. And a lot of the co-production projects that have been sent to us for consideration are all about the migrant experience, or have, cliched protagonists at the Italian end or the Australian end. And that's not what we're looking to do. First of all, Italians are not super interested in those subjects these days, but also it isn't. They tend not to be the style of film that's of most interest. So, really, there is the potential for money to come from other sources that Domenico is investigating now, because with a film like Silk, for example, he worked with New Line to finance that. It's a co-production with Canada and the UK, and it's a big English language film with Keira Knightley and Michael Pitt. So he's accessed different sorts of finance on that, and working with Gabriele Muccino. Obviously Muccino's a big hit now with The Pursuit of Happiness, so they've been talking about films that would be US financed. So he's broadening his sphere, and that has potential for us, for sure.
Speaking of these projects, how automatic is it that a Rolf de Heer or a Richard Lowenstein project will be automatically produced by Fandango Australia?
Well, I mean, Rolf would need to want to do it with Fandango. That's number one. But so far, we're on our third film now with Dr. Plonk, and as we go along, we've got a very clear sense of how we fit together. It's a really good relationship with Julie Ryan, who produces with Rolf. So there's a certain assumption. However, should there be a film that could be financed a different way, and Rolf and Domenico and I discussed it, and we wouldn't stand in its way. And there is also still an element of we would have to agree that the film was one we all wanted to do there. And in the order that we want to do them in. So that's another element, yeah.
What about an outside project coming to you, which presumably you get a few projects sent to you?
We did Tom White with Alkinos Ilamidos, and that was an external project where we were EPs. We definitely wanted to do more of that, but I must say that the year of 10 Canoes, when you've got something that takes off like that, plus the documentary, Ballander and the Bark Canoes, plus being in development on other projects, there wasn't even a moment to stop and contemplate the future. It was so busy. So there just wasn't the ability to take on anything more. I physically couldn't do it. The other thing that I have to keep in mind is as projects that are in development come closer to financing, while a producer can only access money on one project per year from the FFC, well, one project at the same time. That's production finance. So, you know, I have to put the in-house projects ahead of external projects, which means that one has to keep pursuing them until they get made or they go on the back burner. So it's a bit of a juggle. This scenario, this situation occurs for a few of the people who are EPs or, you know, doing several films at once. I mean, certainly the case, I think, could affect Martin Fabini, it could affect Al Clark, it could affect Marion McGowan, etc. You know, it just depends. I know Louise Smith had a couple of projects that were coming up at the same time. So it's something to be mindful of.
Does Fandango Australia see a kind of expansionary future for itself?
Certainly it's tricky to stay the same because just taking EP film fees from low-budget films is not enough to sustain the business. It just definitely is not. It just covers the basic overheads and a little bit of development and nothing more. So, in fact, I do other things when I can, you know, to bring some money in. So to stay the same isn't a really viable future, but how to expand it is also the challenge that has been taken up with people like Jonathan Olsberg with the Enterprise Tasman. It's what can you do to exist beyond a reliance on fees? And in most people's cases it is about doing consultancy work. It is about trying to be as strategic as you can with your development slate so that your energies are going into things that will go ahead. You know, I keep looking at different ways in which it might be possible to expand the business, and Domenico and I keep talking about it. But we're not really in a position to take on staff as such, in which case, you know, there's a limit to what one person can do when you're running a company, running a development slate and EPing films and supervising the marketing.
Would you ever consider taking on another producer as a member of the team to bring in another slate?
Well, once again, it's until such time as we can see a way as an alternative to going via the FFC and the current funding arrangements. Any more films that come under the Fandango banner just start to compete with each other for the assistance, the investment.